cute. I love that. Is that, what's on the inside of that? Is it all foam? Oh, okay.
It's all foam. All foam, and then I'm wearing the balaclava.
Right, to keep you cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much how that works. This is my technically first but second panel.
First panel,
here.
take two.
First panel, take two, I suppose. I've never done a panel before, but except for the last one I did. So, yeah. I always had it like this idea for the past few months of like how it was supposed to go, but I guess like I didn't write it down. So I guess I'll just start with, so I just walked in and pull out all my furs. The first thing about making suits and making any cosplay is really getting organized and finding your materials of how things work. The biggest mistake people make when they start making cosplay, or even fursuits or any fur, is they go to Joann's and buy the cheap fur because they think that it's going to be better that way. But what I found is that at Joann's Fabrics, their fur runs about the same price as it would be if you bought it at online. You know, it's going to be about $20 a yard any way you cut it. It really is. It's just, some people just don't know any better. So really getting the right materials, the correct materials, really doing your research, and having that all settled out is really the main thing you want to have done. I get most of my furs from a few places, which are also on my website. There are toonie furs, which I would say toonie furs, which is distinctive fabric furs. You can find them from a few sources. My favorite, they're called DF furs as a name, because that's just what they call them. I buy my furs mostly from fabric.com. If they don't have the fur I need, then I buy them from other sources. Usually Mendel's or fabric.com because they have free shipping. And this is a distinctive fabric fur. They usually cover the non-traditional colors, the unique colors, the purples, the greens, things like that. It's soft, it's fluffy. The reason I don't particularly like using it if I don't have to is that it has a tendency to clump. And like if you were talking about hair, people are touching all the time and it gets greasy, and so it starts clumping together and it looks terrible. But if for unique colors, the off colors, non-natural colors, it's kind of just what you're gonna have to deal with. This is also great for fluffies and things like that. Great for fluffies, neck goat ears. It's easy to find, it's easy to work with. If you notice, when I bought this fur, they cut it with a pair of scissors. So it leaves this nasty edge right here. But if you cut it with the razor from the back, that's the best way to do it, so it leaves the nice fluffies on it. It'll look terrible if you try to cut it with scissors. So you always want to cut it with a nice sharp blade from the back. And then you have another type of fur, which is more realistic fur. This is a short pile, realistic fur, kind of like what your suit is. It looks like a CR rust, teddy rust. It's a more realistic fur. It's sleek. It's a little not as soft. It's a little wiry, but it's already short, so you don't have to worry about shaving it down. It's a common misconception that you need to make fursuits with this like super really long fur everywhere. For people like me, because by and large the fur comes by and large, the big fur just looks worse. And if you can avoid it, it just looks better to have the shorter fur, if it's at all possible, if it's the black or white or rust. And when you're working out your own design, you want to collect swatches. They tend to give free swatches from all kinds of different places. All the different fabric companies give free swatches. This is how I do my swatches. I hot glue the back to little things so I remember where it comes from.
Leave it open.
If I'm working with
Leave it
someone,
open.
Hey, leave the door.
if I'm working with someone and they're like, oh, I want brown, I don't know what shade I want, so I can just pull out my brown swatches and just be like, well, what shade of brown do you want? And I can bust out with all these different textures of browns and reds and rusts, and have all kinds of things like that. Like this is your fur, CR Red Fox Cubby. laugh about it. So it's kind of just easier to be able to mix and match. Oh, I want a white, I can put it together and see how it looks. It works with all sorts of different fabrics. First, kind of hard to make swatches out of. I tried to put it in a book, but it really didn't work out that well. So you also have the furs that are kind of like fox furs that DF carries and a lot of the other places carry. It's sparkle fur, it's wispy and foxy at the same time. And they have a bunch of really wonderful shades. And it's a really nice texture. It's a step up from fun fur, and it's a step down from the really nice Arctic fox. And it's super sparkly. I've seen people that have actually just pulled the tinsel out and used the fur that way, which is also really nice. I've never done it, so. And then it's also good to have a ref sheet to know what you're working with. If you go in blind and try to start making a costume, any sort of costume, even if it's a character that already exists or a character you want to make, if you don't go into it having an idea of what you're doing, you're going to have a bad time. And it's also good if you want someone else to make your suit to have a ref sheet. So oftentimes they'll be like, oh, well, artistic liberty, you know, that just means they just want a ref sheet. Let's see, feet. These are my favorite shoes to build off of. They're called Doggers. They're like Crocs. These are my own personal shoes. I would use these for someone else. They're like Crocs, except they have a heel and they have Velcro and they have a arch support on the inside. They're comfortable. They don't sweat. It's really easy to glue on. It's really great. They're just my shoes of preference. Other people use other types of shoes. I get these at CVS Pharmacy, or around this time of year, they don't have them there, so I get them off eBay or Amazon. They can run a little more expensive in the winter months, but if you stock up during the spring, that's really good. Also, knowing when to buy fur is also important if you're trying to build on a budget. Around Thanksgiving, around Christmas, around Halloween, those types, it's a great time to buy fur. It's like $10 a yard for the really nice stuff. The Black Friday, it's a really great time to buy furs. Any questions? No? What? Oh, yeah, that's DF. Yeah, it's all my resources. These are the one of the first. I call them. What's the best way to call them?
Test.
Paws.
Prototype?
No, they're not prototypes. They're where people walk around. Parade paws. They have parade soles, parade paws, because they aren't really functioning. They aren't functional. This is something that a lot of people get really confused with when they're making things like this. How to foam it out. I basically foamed it out. They're little bulbs, and then duct tape over it, create a pattern. And you get big old paws like that. These are actually his. They're lined with fleece on the inside, and I took his pattern for it. So they're not really functional. You can't really do much with them, but they're really big and fluffy. My hand paw pattern.
To correct you on that, yeah, there is something. In case somebody gets on your nerves, you can actually whack them with that
Yeah, I
thing.
just hit him with it. Yes, absolutely.
The paw of bandship.
Right. This is my paw pattern. I'm totally willing to share it with you guys. I'll make a copy so you can take it home and make your own paw paws. I always keep all my patterns in buckram. It's really great that way. So I can remake them, like if they start to get dirty like this, I can just trace them on another piece of buckram. And then I use, it kind of riffed off a tutorial done by matrices who uses a sewing machine. I use a sewing machine. I do everything by hand. Let's see here. How else out? It's like the smallest panel ever. I don't really care though. And you're recording this for posterity. Posteriors.
And those that didn't attend.
Those that didn't attend. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. What? I'm trying to turn these out.
Besides, even the first panel, that's good.
Yeah, dude, I don't blast.
Even the first panel with all the little kids is going to be
That was
hilarious
great.
too.
I had so much fun. And then basically what I do is I take a bit of fleece and stick it on this back right here, pin it, and then I do a back stitch all around. Then you get a nice little quad, leave an opening right here, and then you can stick the fleece in there, do it all the way around, and then just turn it out and you have a really nice pattern. My pattern is unique to anyone else's pattern. You'll never find a pattern like this. What makes my pattern unique from everyone else's pattern is I don't leave spaces between the fingers. People will tell you to just, take that on a piece of fabric and trace your hand. But the problem with that, it gets too tight in the fingers. And so when you end up, even trying to leave a seam allowance, it's horrible. And you always end up with these little tiny teeny paws. And then I stitch the corners and turn them back out to see how they look. And I'll pass this around so you can see it. I've been doing this for about 2 years. I definitely did not do this on my own. I had a lot of help. The whole entire build community has always been super helpful to me. They're always there for any silly questions I may have here. If it's been asked, if it's been wondered, it's been found there.
What's the absolute worst fairy tale battle?
I will show you. This is the first tail I ever made. That's Joanne's Fun Fur and White Craft Fur from Joanne's. It's horrible. It's horrible fur. And people consistently, for their first suit, go to Joanne's and buy fur like that. All the time because they don't know any better. They just don't know any better. They think that it's going to be cheap and cut corners. I mean, the construction's great, honestly. I spent a lot of time on that tail. That was actually cut foam. I cut the foam out in that shape. And then I duct taped over it, created a pattern, cut it off. It's like 50 pieces I sewed back together again with a wire in the middle. And it was so hard. And I thought it was the best thing ever when I made it, really. I really did. Where did my...
Yeah, it come out looking like a train wreck.
Oh, it was horrible. Here it is. And then this is my new husky tail. That is a flat pattern. Just flat pattern. It's fluffy, it's nice. It's bouncy. There's nothing on the inside except a little bit of foam. Or, I'm sorry, a little bit of foam. A little bit of padding. This is the padding I use.
Really cute.
This is my preferred stuffing. It's a cluster fiber fill. It's a mess. It's very messy. It's super messy, but it doesn't get clumpy. It doesn't get lumpy or clumpy. It always stays fluffy. I could make 10 tails with this little bag right here.
Oh my gosh.
All the mess. Oh, sorry.
I think that's the same fluff they use at the Build-A-Bear workshop.
Probably.
Could be.
You're out of control, darling. And so that's what I fill all my tails with.
Married
Let's
life.
see here. What's next? Feet. Is there anything on the bottom of your feet, or is it just solid fabric?
Actually, there have been a couple of different changes to the bottom of my feet, and I'm already ready for another change.
Right.
Originally, it was a foam bottom. That didn't last long.
It was probably foam like this.
No.
No,
Fur.
it was foamies.
Fur.
Oh, fur bottoms. Oh, okay.
Fur bottoms. That didn't last long. He said he tried to use real sturdy fabric on the bottom. It wasn't that sturdy. A friend locally who builds fursuits, she's been going through a couple of different prototypes. The last one she used was like a welcome mat. She cut it out and put it on the bottom.
Right.
But that's pretty worn now.
A little heavy.
I mean worn down. Like it's down
You
to.
probably wear your suit a lot.
Yes, and unfortunately I do go outside a lot too,
Right.
and that's what's killing my feet, literally.
This is the most commonly used thing on the bottom of feet. When people do put bottoms on them, this is what they use. This is foam mat EVA foam. Also really great for a studio if you're building. You can just put this on the floor to save your carpet. Then you can just sweep it up, which would be great. I can cover my whole floor in that for pretty cheap. Here is darling boyfriend's feet. These are my feet. And they have the same thing. I've had these for 2 years. But also I don't wear mine very much. And so that's why it's okay for me. Because I'm not going outside, I'm not romping around, I'm not going off-roading in my suit. So it's not that big of a deal. You don't see much wear and tear on this. If you wanted something that was sturdy, it would be urethane. It'd be custom cast urethane. Or if you go to your local shoe repair shops, they sell soiler sheets.
Soiler sheets?
Soiler sheets. That's what they're called, soiler sheets. They're for cobblers. They're about this size, except it's the rubber matting you would put on the bottom of a foot, on the bottom of a shoe, like real shoe bottoms. Soilers. Soilers. S-O-I-L-E-R-S. Sheets. Oh, it might not be on there. Go to, click on Google search. Foot paw. There's so many
I
people
think I
that.
spelled it wrong.
No, it's okay. I don't remember how to spell it. Feet paw tutorial fursuit. And check in images and I'll find it.
Yeah, I've seen some like urethane paw pads.
Urethane paw pad. Yes, that is true. That's also true. But it's still going to mess up the bottoms. I don't see it. Who did that? Who did that tutorial? I don't remember. But yeah, well, it's these rubber bottoms you would use on the bottom of shoes, and you can find them at other shops. And yeah, the other common thing was the rubber mats, but really that's not meant for long. But then for someone like you who goes around a lot, the better option would probably be sandals. They make custom sandals, so that would probably be better. But yeah, this is what I use because I don't go around a lot.
Yeah. Like use those to make a pair of sandals with.
Right, yeah. I forget who makes them.
Yeah. Actually, for anime conventions, I was trying to make I was looking at a website it was a seller on eBay who was selling the Naruto ninja boots.
Oh.
But they told me they don't make the ninja boots for feet this big.
Oh yeah. Why not, right?
Probably would have to find somebody who would custom make it.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't even care if there's not a bunch of people here. I've had such a great time this weekend. Like WinterCon. What? I know. I've had, honestly, like they've treated me so good this weekend. I got to see
That's
my
great.
name on a marquee. I got a fancy badge.
Ooh.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, it says guest on it.
It says guest. Then, okay, foam work to fur. This is basic foam work. This is how I build. This is the way in which I build. I can take this off.
You have to hold up for ups and downs.
Yeah. This is going to my friend Trimble Cat. Come on, mister. Get your nose off of there. He's ready for fur. He needs to be fur.
Actually, one thing that helped me with those heads, the dummy heads, just slap off the nose
That's true.
if you can. If it's like a styrofoam head,
Yeah.
yeah, just slap it off.
Well, this is like a $60 CFX head.
Oh.
This is kind of
No, I mean I went to
Smartphone.
there's a store called Savers, which is like next to slightly used items or like closeout stuff from stores. It's kind of like Goodwill, except the money from the sales go to like a local charity. And one time I went through there, they had a whole bunch of foam heads, foam mannequin heads.
Right?
That's what I put in my. Well, when I take my head home, I'll stick the mannequin head inside the fursuit head, and then it won't. The bottom of the mask won't get this
Worked.
matting.
Right.
It actually picks it up off the ground. But yeah, I had to shave your nose off to get the furry head on and off easy.
For that usage of the foam heads, that is perfect. That is exactly what they're used for. It's a great way to store heads, because if you don't store heads on something, if you don't keep them on something, and if you just store them loose, then the foam will get warped. And you'll get some weird shape out of it, and you have to try to unwarp it. For actually building a head, those little foam heads are terrible, because it doesn't have a neck. You don't have this neck here. And the head isn't the right size, and so people will build off that, and that'll be the biggest mistake. This is how I build heads. It's actually a tutorial done by Fat Kraken originally, and then I kind of morphed into my own thing. I'll start off by taking measurements, assuming I took measurements.
One thing I think that's probably what happened to Blitz's fursuit head.
They built on a tiny head and didn't take measurements?
He probably took measurements, but then built it on a tiny head.
Right. The measurements for me that are important are...
And he claims it shrank.
Well, when you build a head, it does shrink. It really does. From foam to tape to fur, you're losing inches. Because the tape tightens it up a little bit. So if you don't try it on after you tape, it'll tighten it up. You can tighten the tape too harder on the foam. And then if you don't add enough seam allowance, and then you sew it up, that'll also add tightness to it. So you can end up with something that fits, but at the end of the day, you can't put it on. Or it's a pain to actually get on your head, and then they don't know how to build the neck anyways. So I really don't like it. There's a lot of people that are like, well, it's only $8, you know, it's the best I can do. No. My first mannequin head cost me $10. I made it out of plaster bandages and plaster of Paris.
Oh.
And it worked just fine. And it still works today. I still use it.
Oh, so you made a death mask, sort of.
Essentially, yes. I used it for
You built it
play.
around your own head,
My,
or your first subject's head.
Oh, it's in a plastic bag in one of these bags. There it is. Yes. Actually, here it is. This is the front of it. I use it for my clay sculpts. So this is about the size of my own head. And it works perfectly. It really does. I use it for clay. It's inexpensive. It cost me $10 to make. And it's the same size as my own head. And a lot of very popular, very well-known builders actually require a life cast. So they can build off of it. You know? Because also that's something else you lose inches on.
Yeah, kind of wish I did that.
You know, it's a learning experience. It really is.
Yeah. Well, they didn't ask for that, but they did ask for a duct tape dummy,
Duct tape dummy, yes, they do that too.
and that was fun.
I have a duct tape dummy at home. I didn't bring it with me because it was too much trouble.
Yeah.
But I'm building a partial. I did digigrade for the first time. My friend Kyo's suit. It's kind of awesome because he just got one. He has one from Clockwork Creature. And I'm like, I must touch it. I must touch it. So that's on my to-do list.
Ooh, careful.
Right. And so this is just a basic foam base. There you go. Find the nose, make a mark. Like that. And I love these scissors. They're Fiskars. They have this spring right there, so they just bounce right back without any trouble. Nice and sharp, lasts forever. You can get them cheaper actually at Home Depot in the garden section than you can at the hobby shop.
I believe it.
So see, I cut just above the nose, like that. And I'll trim a little off the bottom. There we go. There's a few things I don't have, you know. I don't have a sewing machine. I don't have an airbrush. I don't have a lot of fancy things, but what I have, I do well with. And then, let's see here. There.
And then also, there's a thing with duct tape dummies that half the time, depending on if the suitor loses weight, the size of his suit gets turns wrong.
Or
It's
gain weight.
true. That's also very true.
Gain weight would be worse.
Right, exactly. Gaining weight is the worst, especially if it's done with a fur that's hard to find.
Yeah.
You know, and that's basic build. That's how I start my suits. It's not hard, and I just film the little triangles there, and I have something nice to build off of. And then you find the eyes. Right there. And then when I build, when I start a base, I usually do a sketch. Like for example, if I was doing a wolf, which I am actually. I made a panda, and I gave it away to my friend.
You must have been a really good friend.
Yeah, he loved it. He loved it so much.
Oh.
Is that, yeah, that panda. He loved that panda so much.
Oh.
The problem is I built it with expanding foam. I built it with tough stuff. That stuff you find in a can. Foam in a can.
Oh.
His head's built out of it too. And that's not a problem in and of itself, but it seemed the problem was once it gets sweaty on the inside and then someone throws a backpack on top of it, it smushes. Right. So he was heartbroken. He really was. He was totally heartbroken. He loved that suit so much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But he doesn't know. See, okay, here's the thing. I told him I'd fix it. It's totally not fixable. Totally not fixable. But I told him that I would fix it. And so hopefully, if for Fiesta, I'm going to be like, here's your panda back. But it's not going to be his panda. It's going to actually be his persona of the white wolf. He is a wolf. So I'm going to surprise him with his own persona.
Oh, okay.
So like,
If he watches this video.
no.
Whoops.
He won't
Yeah.
know. He won't know.
Don't put that on YouTube.
Right, so I'll actually, if I do everything right, I'll have 7 suits for Fiesta.
Wow.
Yes. Not terrible, not terrible. Actually, the reason I got originally I wanted to make a kick mask. It's what I really wanted to do.
Hello.
What's going on?
First
First
suit.
building panel.
Yeah.
She's taking us through the steps.
Right. Have fun.
Thank you.
Exactly.
If you want to, there's a door right back there.
There we go. This is pretty much what my bedroom looks like. This pretty much is what it always looks like. It's scattered to the wind. I would love to have my own studio. I really would. So I would do something like this. I would, I want to get a general shape idea of what I want. And then I would trace that onto a bigger piece of foam and then start working that out. Right? And that's true for anything. And I actually had a really big debate with a bunch of people about Pokemon and Digimon and all those other like
They're furries. No, they're not.
Furbies and Okamis, and there's so many different like types of like things that you can find in anime.
Yeah.
Even though they don't seem to like furs. But that's okay, because we're here. And we can get rid of them. Pawpaws. Yes, I love this. I made this feet for my friend Mushy Magic, and it was really awesome because she's one of my favorite builders. That was my favorite.
Oh yeah, I think I have her on my FA page.
Love her.
Mushy
She's
Magic
my favorite
Fursuits.
thing. She's my favorite thing ever. She's my favorite. What was I talking about? Oh, the thing is the thing I always try to explain to people is it's not technically illegal to make a Pokemon fursuit.
Hi guys.
Hey guys.
Hey, it's not
Yeah.
technically illegal to make a Pokemon fursuit. You can totally make a Pokemon fursuit.
Oh yeah, sure.
Or you
Seen
can
them.
do Okami, or you can do any other thing you see in an anime. You can
Yeah, she's trying to get him into a suit, so that's why he's kind of trying to stay away.
Yes.
Stay at a reasonable distance.
One of us.
Oh, I take it this already happened earlier this morning.
No, this one's fine. You can't wear that. The vision in that suit is horrific. She will.
Where?
Oh look, there's a Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, it was next door. Yeah.
Come on.
So
It's not gonna kill you.
Come on,
Okay, fine.
yes.
come on! You gotta be their volunteer.
Being voluntold.
Being a volunteer, being voluntold. The problem with that, especially people who want to make these sorts of costumes for a hobby or a living, if it doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes, and there's proof it happens once in a great while. Someone from Nintendo or something will find out that someone's making a Pokemon outfit or see it on the internet and actually confront them and be like, hey, what are you doing with this?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
copyright. Yeah.
Right, because it is technically copyright infringement. And so sometimes people want to make costumes for charity or do charity work in their cosplay. Well, if Nintendo or something catches wind of you wearing a Pikachu costume to an event, they can't really do that. That's not really something that they can do. So if you make your own mascot and your own character, then you can do stuff like that. And me personally, I take that and I make cosplays for my fursuit, which I think is super fun.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Right? Exactly. I have my Doctor Who, my Tom Baker, and I also have my my Pandarian, which I'll be wearing later. But I left Sprinkles the lady dresses at home. And okay, so that's basically how I start a base, and then this eventually will turn into this. This is what this will turn into. I've got the ears, I've got everything. The eyes is one of the hardest parts too, because the eyes are the windows to the suit. And a lot of times it's hard to find curved plastic or heat forming or stuff like that. And so this is what I use. This is what I use. This is a funnel. It's a funnel for what's it looking for?
Oil.
No, it's for food. It's a food funnel. It's a food funnel. So I'll start early and I'll pin them on where I want them, like I did here. I'll pin them on where I want them. I'll pass them along so you can see. And then cut them out. And cut the holes.
There are things that get passed around, so you may want to move up. There are like things that get passed around, so you may want to move up.
I'm passing around all kinds of things.
Yeah. I'm the stage ninja of the room right here, so
Oh my gosh, it's
I'm the end of the line, so I can just swing it around.
Oh, that's
The
adorable.
sandwich.
I need more props. Someone makes a bacon prop that's really cool. So yes, this base will eventually turn into this. And then what we do with this is we'll cut it off piece by piece and trace it onto the fur. And once you trace it onto the fur, then you can put a piece of fur there and pin it back on. And eventually you have all the fur pinned on. Then you sew it all up. It is angled, all the angles. Oh yeah. And then eventually you will end up with something like this. No, come Someone's twirling a fox outside. But it's, see, but I don't feel like I just make fursuits. Like, I feel like that's, I mean, I love furries and all, but I feel like that's kind of a slight to being artistic.
Okay,
There's so much more that goes into it. You've got cast resins, silicone, sculpting, prop making.
And you guys can go around the back
all
door,
that
open
other
the back
stuff
door
that happens
exactly.
along the way. And it encompasses pretty much every sort of artistic medium. Stop breaking things. Just breaking things. It
No, I
covers
got
every
tripped
artistic
up.
medium that you can possibly think of. So whether you want to make your own sort of fursuit, your own sort of mascot, your own sort of character, or you want to remake a Pokemon or if you want to remake an existing character in anime. Like, I'm really into Polar Bear Cafe, so I'd really love to make a polar bear, or Rama 1/2, or a Kami, or what are some of your favorite animals in anime? Your favorite animals in anime?
There's a King Cosmo.
What?
King Cosmo?
King Cosmo, exactly. There's a million of them. There's a million billion.
I like Komamura from Bleach. That's the cool.
Right? And so this one, instead of having the plastic eyes, it has Tony eyes, which are the follow me eyes.
Yeah, because everywhere it turns, I see you.
Right, that's kind of the whole point. And a lot of people get it wrong. It's kind of just the angle it has to be at. Here I actually have an eye here. Oh, I've also got my patterns I can give away. Oh, there it is. All it is the shape of the eye. I just sketch the shape of the eye. And I have all these tutorials on my website. It's not like I sell this. I just have a bunch of tutorials because it's what I do. And so basically all you do is you get a piece of foamy and you glue it onto the edge of the eye. And it doesn't have that much effect because it doesn't have the eyelid. Once you get an eyelid on it, it will add to the effect. That's how that works. What do you guys want to know? What are you interested in? I need to know. Tell me truly. What you have for lunch? Yes.
When it follows up in creativity, if you have no art skill at all, and the fact that you have never worked with anything like this, would it be able to be a successful process to actually try?
Yes.
How's that?
Yes, absolutely. You don't need artistic skill. You really don't. I am a horrible artist.
Okay.
Horrible. I'm a terrible drawer. I can't draw to save my life.
But what if it also follows up in sculpture?
Sculpture, you just need to practice with anything else. Anything you're going to try to do in life. Whether it's going to be regular cosplay or it's going to be another sort of hobby in life. You build cars, you build this other stuff. There's a certain amount of time you're going to invest in learning how to do it. If you're not good at sculpture, I wasn't good at sculpture either. This is one of the first things I ever sculpted. It was a horrible thing. I just took a little bit of clay and just started sculpting random things and learning shape and structure. Some people are much better with clay because you can't really mess it up because it's just clay. You can just redo it if you don't like it. And then there's other things, like engineers are terrible with soft things and foam, so they use harder frames. Some of them use plastic mesh. I don't know why, but they do. So it's really just finding the medium that you want to use. Some people use a different kind of expanding foam from the other thing, which is expanding soft latex foam. So they can spend months casting it, and then it's not even a rush. It's not even a rush. It's not even a time frame. You could take 4 months. You could take a year. It's just how much time you want to invest in it. Like maybe you want to make an Okami suit, or Pokemon, or anything like that. It's just knowing how to gather the materials, taking the time and effort, and just going for it, really. And there's so many people out there to help. You know, it's like, it's not this like lonely little thing that you're stuck with or to get frustrated with. There's tons of information and tons of people to help out there. And I definitely did not do this alone. If it was just me trying to pick up materials and go, I'm gonna make this awesome fursuit, or I'm gonna make this awesome cosplay, or anything like that, I would have failed so hard. I would have just been terrible. But when I see it as a bigger community of people trying to help each other and make it succeed, make it work, and offer advice and critique, then it turns into something wonderful. It turns into this like group effort. What? Yeah, First Student Live Journal. Yeah, these people come and they post all their stuff. Oh, that's good. They post all their stuff, and it's super great. And it crosses all types of different sorts of costuming. Like I even go to the stormtrooper boards and look for information, or to the I go plug in my heat gun. I go to the stormtrooper boards. I go to the cosplay boards, dyeing things. There's all sorts of things. It encompasses everything that is cosplay, I believe, is what Fursuit is. It's everything. And a lot of times it's put into this bubble of people, of these weird people that just like to act like animals, and it's totally not. There is people out there that do that. That thing is, press play on that. That freaking thing is amazing. This someone, oh my God. Ah. It's not even, this is just someone else who did this. It's so cool. What?
Is there audio?
No. It's a resin head, and it's so cool. It's so freaking cool. It's the resin base. I mean, and they're showing where they're having problems with the hinges. When they open their mouth, it pulls all the way down. But it's just so cool. It's so original and unique. And honestly, from everyone I've ever heard of, like the amount of information that has grown over the past, 10 years? The way that the Fursuit building has grown is ridiculous. Because they looked ridiculous 10 years ago, I'm sure.
Yes.
They kind of did. A little bit. Just a little. But now people are coming together and sharing more information. It's become it's become crazy amazing. And they cross barriers, like with the Japanese, they call them Japanese style fursuits when they're really not. I'm gonna get you.
Because then I know for a fact that the Japanese style fursuits are like really like body tight looking ones. I've actually seen the one on Sarjuan. It's hard to believe that's an actual fursuit.
Are you talking about it's red and white? Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. The thing with those, the Japanese style masks are really essentially, and I tell this to everyone, they don't believe me, essentially just kigurumi masks that are fur. That's all they are. They have very little, that's my sprinkles. My sprinkles is Japanese style fursuit. Oh good, oh that's cool too, yeah. That's not my stuff, but they just build stuff. And those are cool resin masks. But mine's Japanese style fursuit too. Mine is the plastic eyes. And she has hair and she'll be a Pandora later.
What makes it Japanese in your own opinion?
It's the way that the head is built. There's one thing that makes a Japanese style fursuit separate from American, whatever, traditional fursuit, and that is the base for a Japanese style fursuit is front and back. It's a hollow shell.
And then when it follows with this one just pretty much...
It's really just front, unless when it's resin-based, the resin base is just the front of the head like this one. But it would be...
But then it leaves a lot of space in the back that's unnecessary, no?
Right, but it's the bigness, it's the size really that they go for.
And then the appeal goes with this one that the head's smaller and it looks a lot...
Right. Right. So the Japanese style is basically a front and back. It's a full entire helmet shell of resin or fiberglass, whereas a resin style, like traditional fursuit mask, is just the front on a base like foam or balaclava. They usually build off that, but it's really nice. How about patterning? Oh, my patterning's gone everywhere. And I could totally give these away too, because I brought all kinds of patterns to give away. No. She goes over there. You dropped your hand, Megan.
too bad there aren't little kids here. I mean, we could have a
kids
demonstration
playing
of
with things?
little kids and fursuiters.
That's a whole other topic we're gonna get into, is how to handle yourself around kids.
And another thing is in my own contrary question, there's a lot of people that I've known that are under the age of at least like 18, and so they're always fantasizing when they join the fandom to always get a fursuit.
Right.
With that in mind, I've always kept the hassle of actually having a fursuit that's built to the body, and if you were actually to build it at a young age, it would grow out of it. So, like, is there any point to actually try at such a young age?
Okay, as speaking as taking a commission from someone,
Okay.
I don't know many people that build fursuits that are willing to work with people that are under the age of 18 for many reasons. One of them being, yes, they're going to grow out of it. One of them being that they're not legally binding to a contract. They can't use a PayPal account. If for some reason that they do make a suit for a younger underage kid, it's through the parents. It's a parental decision. So people grow out of everything. People are going to grow out of clothes. People are going to grow out of a fursuit. Even us big people grow out of fursuits sometimes after Christmas. I think that crafting should be at any age. You should be able to make a suit at any age. You should make a cosplay at any age. You can't start too early. You know.
But it does fall under the sense that if you made it for another person.
Right. Yes. I guess if it was a personal thing, if it was a local, if it was a friend, if it was a friend's kid, a Halloween costume, that's fine. But someone 3 states away that just wants a fursuit that's 15 years old, no, I'm not going to do it. And I know a lot of other people wouldn't either.
But does it only fall around the fact that, well, there's no point to do it since they'll grow out of it, or is it so much that they won't pay?
I think that if someone's paying me money to make them something, I don't think I'm going to care if they're going to grow out of it. As long as they're aware that they're going to grow out of it and they're okay with that, then that's fine. Maybe they could just get a partial. You know, maybe they'll just get feet and hands. And also, people that make suits make a dozen of them. You know, you're not just going to make one. You're going to make a bunch of them. And people grow out of their suits just because they get sick of wearing them. And they can pass them along. Or they could make their suit and then grow out of it and then sell it. They could give it away to a friend or re-gift it, you know. Tails. This is my husky tail pattern, which I'm more than happy to trace and give away to anyone who wants it. I did work pretty hard on it. And then I have my Pandaren tail, which can also be done in a foxtail. And after this, I'm going to talk about kids. This was, I use, there we go. Always got to have the arrows. It's like a puzzle piece here. Making patterns, I like using these big pieces of cardboard. I've always got cardboard boxes lying around, and it's a really great way to use them. And the pattern pieces are super sturdy, so you're not going to have much of a problem with losing them. What? Oh, that's my blue husky tail, yeah. Yeah, the red one.
And the claw tail.
Right. Now, do I think, and also, I don't think that anyone under the age of 18 should be taking commissions for anything. It's just not a good idea. It's just not. This is my husky tail pattern. It's super simple. All basically you want to do is just draw a circle. You're just drawing a big circle, and then cut it off, and then draw a little circle in the middle. And that's a husky tail. It's really simple. People make it out to be way harder than it needs to be. So if I've learned anything, the easiest answer is probably the correct answer. If you try to think too much into it, it's probably not the right answer. It's probably not how anyone else did it. You know, and I did. I took the long way around when I made my first stuff. It's like, it must be more complicated than this.
And then also, I mean, if people want to make like a curly tail, I mean, and if they have like the cardboard disc off of a pizza,
Yeah,
off the
that's
underside
true.
of a pizza.
As long as it doesn't have cheese on it. Just bite it off.
Oh, as long as it's clean, of course.
Right. And also, when you're making patterns, it's important to not lose the pieces, that too. But to mark them, and to put arrows where things meet up, and to put the direction you want the fur to go into. I number mine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can put them all up in the right direction.
Yeah, and there's the curve on Sarah's too.
Oh yeah, the Sarah's tail. Then I dry brushed with paint. That was paint.
Yeah. But yeah,
use the
it's
paint. I would never do that again.
curve.
It's a terrible
I
idea.
know, but it's that curve that you worked on. It's the same as the hockey tail. Essentially, you're cutting out the fabric so that it makes the curve.
Right. And this is basically the pattern for this tail.
Yeah.
It's just
and there.
it's just a flat tail. And you can just put all these together and this is the perfect husky tail. You know, and it's super soft. You can pass it around. It's just a fluffy, lightly stuffed. There's a pin in the top of this.
Don't already can
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So it just takes a little practice. That's all it really takes is a little practice and work.
you?
Now, care for your suits is very important. Because no one likes a stinky fur. No.
Especially, nobody wants to hug a furry that smells like feet.
Oh, I hate it so much. It's so gross. And even all you cosplayers out there that aren't furries don't have any excuse either. You guys can, not you personally, I'm sure you guys shower. Oh my, yeah, my hooves. Now, most commonly used to disinfect the inside of a fursuit head, and most commonly the incorrect answer to do so is by using things like Lysol and Febreze. Even if they're antibacterial, they still leave a scent, but they also, from secondhand information told to myself, can also degrade the foam on the inside, and also it leaves a stink and there's chemicals. You might as well be spraying Febreze in your face. One tail through them all. And so, but that's what I would just do. I just use Lysol antibacterial, and I thought I was fine. I would spray it, turn my suit inside out. Recently there was another tutorial done by, I think, Neon Slushy. Yes, I'm going to get into that too in my Hika.
That's neons?
Your Hikan's warm.
That is a mohawk that is removable. It's a removable mohawk.
It's a faux hawk.
Mohawk. Yes. That basically you just get a squirt bottle, and this can be used for any cosplay, and it'd be great. A squirt bottle with alcohol and water. And it's super simple, and it's super inexpensive, and it doesn't take any money to do. And you spray it down, and it kills all the germs, and it doesn't leave a stench.
What type of alcohol?
Oh gosh, rubbing alcohol, I think? Isopropyl? I think, look up Neon Slushy.
Sorry.
It's okay. YouTube, that's where a lot of people have great tutorials. Neon Slushy fursuit cleaning. And it's really, I mean, I didn't figure all this stuff out by myself. I stalked and read and studied. It's not on YouTube. It's just,
Oh, where are we going?
just Google.
Oh.
Fursuit care. If you're wearing a full suit, you want to make sure to turn it all the way inside out. Spray it down, make sure there's no bacteria. Spray the inside of your head, put it on a fan. You want to make sure to brush this stuff out every time you wear it. Brush it out. Just brush it out. Use a little brush. You can use a slicker brush, which is fine. Sometimes it takes out some of the fur with it, which makes me sad. For fur that's really not that long, I just use a regular comb. It's unnecessary to use a slicker brush, because look at this is expensive fur, and it just took all my fur with it. And you end up with bald spots, which makes me a sad panda. Yeah, this is it. Rubbing alcohol, disinfecting fursuit parts. Rubbing alcohol, you just spray that in there. And it's great. I just found that tutorial recently. He did it, and he's great for it. And it also works for your cosplay too, because you can't wash it. You can't really throw a cosplay sometimes into the washing machine. So if you just spray it down, and the Febreze just stinks up the place.
But with that in mind, would it be possible, if it is possible, to actually put it in the washing machine and just like wash it?
You can. You absolutely can put it in the washing machine.
But
It depends. But there's always butts in furries. Furries always got butts. It depends. If you were to commission something like this, and you have it, I would ask the person who made it for you first, before you throw it in the washing machine. Some people, you can totally put it in a washing machine. They're like, I made it, you can put it in the washing machine. Personally, I would never put this in the washing machine for a few reasons. Firstly, the buckram is water soluble, and the eyes would melt, and if this was white fur, it would turn a different color. Secondly, I don't like submerging my heads all the way underwater if I don't have to. It seems unnecessary.
Oh, I kind of never thought you could put the head in the wash machine.
Right.
But I was thinking the tails.
Yes, you can. There's another tutorial on there that he did actually for that purpose. How I wash my fursuit parts is I wash them in the tub first. I scrub them out with a little woolite and detergent, and then I wring them out and throw them into the washing machine for a rinse cycle. And that's pretty much what I do. For other places like feet, there they are. Yeah, and he does the same way. Yeah, go back up. There it goes. And this is great. This is done by Neon Slushy. He's super smart. I don't know who he is, but I found his tutorials.
He's on FA too.
Yes,
so.
I'm sure he is. Yes, definitely. And he did this tutorial, and I follow it, and it's what I use. And a little bit of light in the water. Wash it. Oh my gosh! And if you wash it in the washing machine, drain the water and rinse it again. It's so gross. It's so gross.
Why?
Stench.
No, it's brown. You're walking on it. It's like shoes. So, but people will like wash it, rinse, and just fill it with water, drain it, and wear it. So you have to rinse it. You have to do the rinse cycle. But like stuff like this, see this is white. You want to use a teddy bear cleaner or Folex or something like that to spot clean, and then you could throw in the washing machine. Some people put them in the bags. They put them in bags or hampers. If it's a full suit or pants or arms, you want to make sure to brush it out and let it air dry. You never, ever, ever, I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care who they are. Don't put fursuits in the dryer. Don't do it. Just don't. There's no point. There's no, don't do it. Just don't. There's lots of but what ifs. Yes, we can totally that one time when we were together and we drank a little too much and put our fursuit in the dryer and it came out totally fine. Fine, I understand that. Personally, I would never do it. This fur is so expensive. This fur right here, this fur had to be special ordered. We had to get 600 yards of it as a community ordered. We ended up splitting it with a fursuit, or with a fur company called Mendel's, to get the fur, to get them to make it, to get Monterey Mills to actually produce this fox fur right here. So I'm not putting this in the dryer because it's not replaceable. Heat, any level of heat will, for acrylic like this, warp it, break it down eventually. It's even the lightest heat, it makes me uncomfortable, makes me cringe. And then it's getting tumbled around in the dryer and crinkled up and matted. It's not fun. But when you think about fur, when I want to convey to cosplayers how to care for fur, you care for fur the same way you would care for a nice wig, because it's acrylic. You know, you wouldn't, there's not many, well nowadays actually there are fibers that are safe for heats. There's fancy yaki, soba, or whatever. I don't know. There's lots of fancy things that are now heat sellable, but acrylic fur is not one of them. And neither is Cancleon. This is the most common thing used. And I have looked for loose wefts of heat safe loose wig hair. And if you find someone who actually carries loose, unnatural colors of this for fursuit hair or wigs. Usually like in the kigurumis and other places, they'll just butcher 3 or 4 wigs to put on a head. Because putting just a wig on a head looks horrible. It's just horrible. But if you butcher like sprinkles 3 or 4 wigs, it kind of fills out a little more, or maybe even just a tuft. But this is also something that's helpful even for people who do like dreads, dread falls, things like that. I'll show you real quick how to do this. This is how to make wefting. Wefting is something that seems to be really difficult for people to understand, and it's understandable.
Well, what is wefting?
Actually, in the fursuit community, it is the wrong term to use, wefting. Wefting involves more like sewing into a wig hat. That's what wefting is. In the furry community, wefting is taking little pieces of hair and hot gluing it to a point. so they can put it on a head. For me, that's more like punching, like hair punching, like you would punch into a silicone mask. So what I do is I always leave it with the rubber band on, okay? And this is exactly how I did my other, what? Yeah, punching. No, how I did Chris's hair, her big weave. Give me a bit of foam. There we go. Oh, that's too big. Use this piece of foam. And foam is super expensive. Foam, just note about foam. 50% off coupons at Joann's. And you can get foam cheaper. Or Black Friday. Black Friday. Yeah, you see the wefts? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and this is great for horsetails, for wigs, for those gothy little wig extensions. You can take a little bit like that. Take my glue gun, twist with that. There we go. Like that. Take a piece of scrap foam, twist. Pull. And there. And once I twist that first part off, it's not hot anymore.
Will it stay glued together like that?
Yep. Absolutely. Oh, the few loose hairs might fall out here and there, but you just gotta be gentle with it, just like any wig would fall out.
Here you go.
Yeah, see?
There's the.
What I did is I actually punched it into a bit of foam. I cut a little hole right here. And then this is the glued part. I just stuck it into the middle, pulled it through like that, pinched it. Oh, I need to glue. There we go.
Ready?
Oh yeah, oh my gosh. And that'll stay. And then just fill this up. And for raw foam, you just put it on. What? Don't let the glue stick. And so that's basically how you start wefting hair. And you just build on top of that.
And you do it piece by piece?
Yeah. And once you get started, and that's why, unlike all the tutorials I've ever seen, well, I would do all of this. I would do all of this at once. Leave the rubber band on, take bit by bit, little pieces, glue it, leave it together, then cut the rubber band off. So you're not dealing with this, all this mess of wasted ganglion. Right. And this is not heat sensitive, or it's heat sensitive. You can't use heat on this. So it's no, you can't. Not even blow dry, nothing. It'll melt immediately. It really will. But if, for example, if you were some like weird goth girl, I don't see any weird goth girls in here, but they could
They
dread
all left
this.
for a different panel.
Yeah, it's a different panel. Weird goth girl. Yeah, you can just dread this up. Hi, David. And you. So you can just dread this up and attach it to something else and make little gothy falls, something like that. Okay, fursuits around people. Fursuits around other people. The anime conventions, it can get a little dangerous. Really can. Really can.
Surprise club!
Right, from the back. And then you've got hard things like noses or resin heads or strange girls in wicker hats and that girl over there. And you don't know. You don't know. You know, they could really be excited to see you. They could be some strange drunk person who isn't even at the convention, who's in the hotel at the same time as the convention and really doesn't like the idea of you wearing that. And then, or you could be, yes.
Okay.
Hi. Oh yeah, we Skyped, didn't we? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know. I've always.
Hey, dude.
Hi. It's good to see you.
First, too.
Oh my gosh, they're breeding. And that's your mom?
Well, this
Your
is
sister.
My mom.
No, it's your sister.
That's it. She don't speak Spanish.
Oh. Well,
That-
you know what? It's cosplay, so you can cosplay as, yeah, who's your young.
Yeah,
The
see,
only
these are all the groups.
I know. Actually, my favorite Spanish word is conejo. Because it sounds like a bad word. It sounds like it would be a bad word, but it just means bunny. It's conejo. You're a bunny?
No.
Oh, yes.
Kind of with the topic, I was wondering, I've actually heard from a few people that once you actually do get into like cons with the full complete suit, is it always completely necessary to have somebody by your side just to
Yes.
be sure to
Yes.
be your lookout?
Absolutely. For one, I will start with one reason. Children come up usually to about here. Fursuits, you can't see there. So you'll get a kid that will just see some fluffy animal and run towards it. Maybe they'll get away from their parents. You can't see them in a fursuit. Even the best vision suit, yeah, you can't, and they just want to hug. So if you don't have someone there like watching that, you could injure the kid, or you can injure your suit or yourself. And I don't think the parent's gonna care about you in the suit. They're gonna care about their kid and the fact you just mowed them down. So that's firstly. Secondly, I've had situations where there's some drunk dude and I'm wearing my dress, and everyone who wears a fursuit is a guy. So they want to pull up my skirts or something like that, or mess with me. And so when I'm in this situation, I can't just take off my head. I can't leave the situation. I can't go, I can't get in my car and leave. I'm in a convention with the Lakers, follow me. I don't speak in my suit, generally. So if I don't have someone around that knows my signals to, like, if I'm hot, or if I need to leave, or if I need something to drink, or this guy's weird, there's no one there, I'm all alone, because I will never break character, I really won't.
So they're gonna be your wingman.
Right, they're my wingman. My boyfriend always makes sure that I'm okay. We know how long I can be in a suit, even with any sort of costume that's going to cover your head. It's going to restrict your breathing and your vision. So there's only so much time you can spend in a suit. You brought me a hat. I know, right? So there's only so much time you can spend in a suit. And in a convention area, there's lots of little places you can hide to take your hat off. Or to get cool, maybe a stairwell or back to your hotel room. But if you're out maybe doing community service or working with kids or at a car wash or whatever you're doing, because people who wear suits also like to go out into the community and be a part of the community. It's just kind of what they do. They can't wear a Pikachu costume because they'll get sued. So if they find some other way, they create their own character. And so a lot of times they have to make sure that the place that they're going to go, like a mall or a public place, is knowing that they're coming and that they're okay with it. Because sometimes even if they're okay with it over the phone, you show up and they're like, wait a second, I didn't know that's what you meant. Get out. Right, pictures. Picture didn't happen. So you always want to make sure that even whether you have someone with you or you're alone, because people do suit alone, it's just what they do. I don't understand it, but whatever makes them happy. Make sure you know the situation that you're getting yourself into. And that's true with any cosplay. Make sure that you know the people who's going to be working there, they know who you are, you know where to go if you're in trouble, or if you need something. But like I said, I always go with someone else, at least one other person. Usually, you won't see me suiting without two people. I just don't, because there was a situation at another convention where someone was in their suit and they got beat up in a hotel, in an elevator, and there was no one there. So that was the worst case scenario. It's the only time I've ever heard of it. Because anime conventions, it's not always just the anime kids. Like sometimes there'll be football teams, there'll be cheerleading teams, there'll be all kind of random business conventions, and they won't know what's going on. The hotel didn't tell them that there was going to be a bunch of weird teenagers in costumes everywhere. So it's 8 o'clock in the morning, they wake up, and there's someone strange. That's me, yeah. That's sprinkles, that's not me, it's sprinkles. But. So it's just being aware, I guess being aware of your surroundings is what's really important. In any sort of cosplay situation or costume situation, especially if your face is covered. I don't understand this, and maybe you can confirm this. why people think that they can wear a fursuit inside of Walmart and they're not going to get hassled. I don't understand that people go and there's costumes and cosplays on Halloween. I got kicked out of Walmart and I don't understand. I'm like, dude, your face is covered. Really?
Yeah.
Like, I went to the bank in my my Naruto outfit or my Halo costume and I got shot. What happened? I don't know. I didn't tell anyone.
Yes. Confirmed.
Right? Children, dealing with children.
Silent Bob and Silent Bob.
Yes, those are I make cosplays for that's mine and that's the other one. I was like, I have 2 Silent Bobs. It was great.
Silent Bob and Silent Rob, they're twins.
And that's why I said Milkshake cosplay. No one knew who I was. I don't know why I was grabbing my chest. It was weird. But I was really excited. Dealing with children. Okay, someone hands you a baby and you're in a fursuit. What do? Here's a baby. You're in a fursuit. You say, no, I'm not holding your baby. Because they want to hand you their baby for some reason.
Please take a picture with my
Take a
baby.
picture with my baby. And
I will, well,
you're...
first of all, make sure the baby's not fussy.
Yeah.
If they're already crying, it's like, no, I don't think.
Maybe it's a sleepy baby.
Sleeping baby, very gently and carefully.
Yeah, right.
And I've done it a few times. Only a few. Most of the time they get handed the baby, they see me, and they freak out.
Right. And also, you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
A few hundred years. I'm kidding.
I've been on it 3 or 4 years.
And also then you have children, you don't know what situation, with any cosplay, what type of situation you're gonna be into when a kid confronts you. Usually it's some parent dragging their kid to get a picture with you, or a kid that's not really sure, and I can't really see, what the kid's going on. And so you don't want to attack them. You don't want to go over them. You want to go down on their level and go lower because that makes them less scared. You want to go low, stick out your hand, stuff like that. Lay on the ground, take off your head, that sort of thing. Yeah, that was like the first time I ever suited as pros. The first time I ever suited, I only lasted like 20 minutes. It was it. I couldn't deal with it. It was ridiculous. And also, I was wearing a full suit and dresses and petticoats and all that stuff. No, I just wear a partial or cosplay. Yes, we were talking about this earlier. That head is resin, and I took the eyes out. So it was okay. And also, because I have strange colored hair, it dyes the inside of my resin mask. And so after a good hour of suiting, my whole face will be purple. What else?
Well, you got purple hair, so.
I do.
So it's a match.
It is a Chris, my favorite Chris. She's at she's at a furry convention right now. And I don't even consider myself a furry. I really don't. People hate me for that. They really do. But if I was going to Star Trek conventions, I'd probably be making Star Trek cosplays. The wrong one, yes. But I make these because I love it. I love the community. I love the people that wear them. I like making them for people. And I love putting people who aren't furries in fursuits. It's like it's my favorite activity. It really is. You're not getting out of this either. It really is. And I love that panda. It's Angry Panda. And I think that's really the fun of it. A lot of people don't understand what furry is all about, or they try to describe it to people and set the record straight and dispel.
It's not what you saw in CSI.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is the definition is different for everyone. It's not going to be the same definition. Maybe someone who just likes to draw animals considers themselves a furry. Maybe some people say that you're not a furry unless you own a fursuit. Maybe some people say that...
Maybe somebody likes to make fursuits as a furry.
Maybe someone who makes fursuits involves themselves into a furry fandom, doesn't consider themselves a furry. That's adorable. Just looking at things. But yes. It has Pokemon. It was adorable. It was Pokemon, see? It just depends, And you can't live your life trying to define yourself around other people's standards of what you should be. You know, and there's another thing. I went through and I asked a lot of people, and it's very common for people to make fursuits and not be furries. I felt like I was the only one, but it's not true. So you don't have to be a furry to make these. Yes.
Well, as the definition goes, what it means to be a furry is as soon as you say I'm a furry, you're a furry.
Right, exactly,
You can
exactly
fursuit,
right.
you can make fursuits, you can draw whatever, you can
Right.
do everything, you can pretty much do better than any other furry, but as long as you say that you're not furry,
Yeah, as long as you don't say till death do us part. then
Right.
you're not married.
Exactly. Oh, those paws, yes. Oh, paws. Those paws are hard to make. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Feet. What are some feet? Where's my other feet? Where's your feet go?
I think they're in the cave.
and that's how people are actually.
What's in
That's
here?
what you
Oh, this is a good point. Oh, that's my favorite. Yeah. Dyeing furs is one of people's favorite things to do. They're gonna save money by
Just buying white fur.
buying white fur and dyeing it whatever color they want.
Does it cost?
No. No.
It doesn't last.
No. This is, I did a really good job too. This is what it looks like. And you can, I'm gonna brush it out a little more because it's been in my closet for a while. Where's my thingy? Whatever. The point is, yes. This is it. It feels terrible. It's okay for if you were just making a marking, or if you happen to have all this white fur and you just needed one green marking, one little thing, you know.
Yeah, cool.
Acrylic fur technically cannot be dyed. It can't be dyed. You can't dye acrylic fur. You can stain it. It can be stained, but you'll never get the vibrant color that's on the box into the fur. It'll always be a nice pastel color. But at least you'll have pastel fur. And maybe that's something you want to play with. And that's fine.
So
You know,
then, what would be your suggested way to get the precise colors you want?
Buy it that
Buy
way.
it. If you can't find it, like, where's my box? I just made a disaster. Right, there it is. Okay, blue. Look at all these shades of blue. Okay, there's a bunch of shades of blue. But maybe for some reason I don't have your shade of blue. Maybe for some reason you have one shade lighter. Oh, these little kids made a mess. It's okay.
Here you go.
What?
I like to have experiments. Here.
Yeah.
Your post.
Yeah, that's my post of the fur. This was originally purchased some dye for my felt hat. Tulip one-step dye in olive green from Michaels. Most dyes do not require hot water, and it would give a lot of troubles because water messes with the shape of the felt hat. It also messes with acrylic. If you use hot water on acrylic fur, it's going to melt it or warp it. Go back, I was reading it. This is the Tulip one-step dye. It already comes in a prepackaged bottle. It only requires cold water, and it can be purchased in a prepackaged bottle. For photo use and dye, I let it soak overnight and rinsed it and ran it through the washing machine in cold water to see the fade. I can't speak for long-term fade because with any colors, maybe dry brushing, air brushing, any of that, it's gonna fade unless it's permanent. There was no fade. There was no fading witness after the washes. The color is uniform, which is not true for that nasty green stuff. Because you can see it's not permanent. And it just looks terrible. And there's no change in texture, which is even more important. Because that's the main complaint with acrylic dyes, is it feels gross. It's not something you want. The best way I can describe it, I didn't bring the swatch, but it's like a minty green. So something that would dye my hat to be this color would only dye the fur to be a mint green. But there is no mint green. You can't buy mint green fur.
Yeah.
So if you absolutely had to have mint green fur, it would be a great way to get it. And you can buy it anywhere at Michael's. And that's another part. Just experiment. Just try things. It doesn't have to work out. Most of the time it doesn't. You know, it's not going to always work out. But look at all these shades of blue. There's no reason, like, why someone has to have a certain shade of blue when there's just all these wonderful shades of blue. Look at all these awesome shades of blue. Oh my gosh. One of those has to be right, you know? And then you have your sparkle fur, which is great. It's like a fox fur. Then you have the DF fur, and then this is a new shade. No, this is a new shade. Cobalt. These two are new shades of fur. They just came out this year, past few months. Cobalt and navy. Those are really great. Maybe you want to make raver fluffies, you know? Maybe $50, $55 for a pair of raver fluffies. Blows my mind every time. It's one line of stitching, and it's easy. It's easy. You can do it yourself. And if you just know where to buy the fur and have a needle and thread, you can make it yourself. You know, you can make paws yourself. You can make all kinds of that cute little raver gear yourself. Those little fuzzy arms and things, and a lady with a trash can. You know, whatever you want to do. It's really great, you know, to have all these things. Now this is high-end fur. This is my fox. You can pass this around. This high-end black fox fur is Arctic fox. Fur usually runs somewhere between 20 yards and 35 yards, or $35 a yard, $20 to $35 a yard, plus shipping. Fabric.com now carries black and white Arctic fox, which is extremely similar, almost unnoticeably different to the stuff you can get from Mendel's or something like that. You can, oh my gosh, imagine having a blanket in that. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, it's great. You can make things for your friends. Oh my gosh. What? Yeah, that's fabric.com. Yes, if it's under $20, it's terrible fur. That's just the way it is, unless it's on sale.
But per yard.
That's the that's just shag.
How much do you lose? Like exactly? Okay, like if you wanted to start with just pods, about how many yards would you need, and about how much would you be looking to spend just to start?
For a partial or just
for a partial?
For a partial, for just one color, we'll just say one color for ease.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, for one color, for a partial, for an average, for arms that go to here, you know, you'd wear long sleeves with. For short-sleeved ankles, for a medium-sized tail, maybe about this big. For an average-sized head, the average-sized ears, you know, no huge head. 3 yards.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. If you know, that's giving, especially because you guys are short, a big person like me, maybe more. You look silly with a tiny tail. That's really all.
You have to start
right.
over on something.
Right, you might mess up. You might have to start over, because a lot of times, and I'm guilty to this day of cutting furs in the wrong direction. I do it all the time. I really do. Even today, I'll get tired, because fur goes in one direction, and fur. That's another thing that people get confused. Which fur goes direction? You're supposed to be a furry. You don't know which direction fur goes on an animal. Sure, dude. I don't know. Boggle my mind. Thank you. Fur goes down. When you look at a head, fur goes, generally speaking, without getting all like fancy with it, fur goes away from the nose to the ears and down the back of the head, up the ears. That's the direction. So sometimes it gets confusing. Sometimes you forget which color, which direction. So what I would do on all my pattern pieces, I'll just draw an arrow, so I know. Because you're looking at the back of the fur, you know? So I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to go this way, great. And then I'll cut it out, I'm like, no, it's the wrong way. And you just wasted fur. It's heartbreaking. This is a yard. This is a yard of fur.
It's 1 yard.
It's a lot. Yeah, this is 1 yard of fur. The length is always the same. The width changes depending on where you're buying from. It can be anywhere from usually about 50 to 60 inches. It varies. Storage of fur, I keep all my fur in plastic bins like that, folded up. If I had some amazing professional studio, I would totally keep it on fancy rolls, you know, in fancy ways, but I don't have a lot of room. I really don't. So I store it where I can.
Buy a bolt and keep it on the bolt.
Right, and then I did that for a while. But the problem with that is, I did have a bolt, I really did. It's because it's heavy. And so when you stand it up on its top, it starts to sag and crinkle. So oftentimes, at least once or twice a week, I'll go through all my fur and fluff it out. Also, care of fur. If you're keeping fur in a smoking environment, you're just doomed to fail. You really are. Because if you're a smoker, what? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Wow, that one, are you kidding me? Wow. Okay, wait, I'm just gonna, oh, yeah, don't smoke around your fur. Don't keep animals around your fur. Let people know if you have animals, because it's a decision that they should be able to make. You know, store your fur nice. 15-minute warning. Do you guys have any questions before I keep rambling? I can't believe I've been talking for this long. Those are my babies. Except for him. Can anyone guess what this is supposed to be?
Mustang.
Colonel Mustang. That's what it is. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I have one.
Yes.
Apparently out of my fursuit, I actually created one, but it failed miserably.
It helps. It happens.
Yeah, I actually made mine out of a blanket, which is actually kind of funny, because I'm thinking, do I actually have to use actual like long fur, or can I use like fleece or other?
It depends. There are plenty of beautiful suits out there made out of fleece. I've seen a lot of them. They're beautiful. They can be done. For someone with my build, I would not wear fleece. It's not flattering.
Right.
You know, aesthetically saying. It kind of depends. There's pull up, do art slave fursuit, fleece, art slave fleece fursuit. Amazing, amazing suit. All fleece, all airbrushed, freaking ridiculous. Let me see if I can find it. It's great. It can be done. It has to be done well. But if you're using fleece because you feel like you can't afford something better, the time you're going to waste and the materials you're going to waste because you wanted to use a cheaper fur is just going to kill you in the long run.
There's no point to it.
There's no point. Yes.
How much would you charge for like a partial, like the sleeves?
It depends. How much I feel like I should be charging and how much I can get away with charging if I was open for commissions, which I'm not at the time. But you can totally check out my website and I'll email you if I ever am. But in general speaking, what you should be paying, and this is not me quoting you, this is not an official quote, I don't care. Generally, for someone with 3 to 4 years experience, for a partial, you're looking between $600 and $800.
Like if you're going to sell that, like if you had like
This
partial and everything for that.
with oh gosh, she was made for a good friend of mine, and I don't know. Right now, if I was to make this head, it would probably be about $300.
For the head alone?
Because it's not just the materials. When you're thinking, and that's so important, that is a beautiful head. That was done by Fry Fuzzmutt, and that's an off-fleeced head with fur and his hair. Love it. Beautiful foam bases, I can't believe it.
Stitch.
That, I believe, I don't know who built that, but in any event, also fleece. I can't find it. It doesn't matter. It's not just the materials I used to make this, because after so many years you collect all the materials. It's the time that it took to get to this point that you're paying for. It's all the trials and errors and mistakes and crying and just everything that it took to get there is what you're paying for. You know, if someone's got, but when you go farther down the line of like 10 years experience, or someone making extremely like fancy things that they've been doing for years, it can go up to $1,000 easily. So, but that's about what you're gonna pay. If you're looking for a mediocre builder, that's what you're looking to pay, about $600, $800, $1,200 for, $1,200 to $1,400 for a full suit. But there are people, you can go to the new builders, but just remember that they're new, and you're not gonna get the quality that you're gonna get with someone who's been building a long time. Even me, I've built 6 heads, and I think I'm mediocre at best. So I just share what I can with people who want to try it. But go to Fursuit Live Journal, ask your friends, get help, build for nothing, just for the free materials, and you'll eventually get good at it. But if you're going to commission someone, make sure that they're putting out a consistent product. Ask the customers, like if you're going to go buy a car, you want to ask the people that have bought from them. You want to do all that stuff. You don't want to vet them, because you're about to hand someone, yes?
in your suggestion being the fact that with the fursuit thing and with the people with the years of experience, if it goes cheaper to the fact that if someone has little experience versus someone that has a lot of experience but charges a lot, what would you go for if you couldn't do it?
I would rather give my money to a friend than to someone I don't know.
So you have to know the person.
Yes, I would. I don't care how much I'm paying. If it's a new builder, but I know them, and I have good communication with them, and I know that they'll try their best, but I know what to expect. I know I'm gonna expect a medium to middle grade suit. But if I know that they're gonna try their hardest and they're gonna give me great customer service, then I'm gonna go to them. If I don't know them and they've got 1,000 people on their waiting list, you know, you don't really know. I know, yeah, that's something Matt did for me. That is actually the foam base of this head. That's what that is. Terrible.
With a real shiny nose.
Right, but and go for someone who you think is more importantly, and because a lot of people that build suits take payment plans, so you don't have to pay it all up front. Go to someone who you think is going to do your character justice, and who looks like it's going to be fun to work with, and someone who's just going to be good, not just because all your friends are going to get something from them, you know? The reason people get terrible suits is because they don't do their homework, because they take their friend's word for it, because they don't take the time to look in. Just like a car, you're basically paying as much as you would for a car. Really, I mean, legitimately. Like mixed candies, $3,000, you can get a used car for that. So you would also do your homework. And also you want to take into account how much time you're willing to spend waiting for it. 6 months to a year, 2 years, 3 years, you don't really know. You know? Any more questions? Yes.
About like what time frame should you feel is acceptable when you're actually like in the market for doing like a complete suit? If it's from somebody who's really reputable,
Right.
and they gave you the code on the time.
There are, I'll use a few people as examples. Personally, what I do is I let people know that I'm opening up, and then they'll put in a quote. I expect you need to have your stuff ready too. That's what takes the most time, is if you're commissioning someone and you don't have a ref sheet, if you don't have descriptions, if you don't give them what they need to give you the quote that they need, that's going to take a lot of time if they have to find a ref sheet for you.
You don't have the duct tape dummy.
Right, if you're not ready to give that stuff, if you're not ready to commit to that. From what I've heard, usually from quote to payment, it can take up to 2 months. That's generally what I would expect, because usually when people start taking quotes, they get a dozen at a time. So they have to go through, and some people will take the ones, instead of first come, first serve, they'll pick and choose which ones they think they would do better justice to. I take about 3 to 5 months to make something. Some people, like Sharpie, she's freaking amazing. Like, she takes like no time at all to make something, and she will make it beautifully. And she'll just sit down for 12 hours and bust out a fursuit head and send it to you. It's crazy, it's madness. I've watched her do it. She'll do a whole live stream. She'll just build your head right in front of you. It's crazy. Then some people like mixed candy or something like that, who will say, okay, you'll put your quote in January, and then you'll put in your 30% deposit, and then you're put on a list. So there's so many people in front of you. And so it may take 6 months to get to your suit. And then they'll say, okay, the rest of your money's due, or I'm starting on your suit. But they may only take a month to actually build it. You know, or other people take shorter amounts of time and more amounts of time. Really, it's, for the whole process of getting a suit, I would give it a year. Legitimately, I would give it a year. Just, some will take 3 months, some will take 6 months, some will take 2 years. But that's something that you have to take into account. If you have a deadline, if you want it by the next convention, that's something that you have to take into account. Most of the times, if you can find someone who maybe has partials, and that's a really good way to save money through commissions and buying these things, is if you buy them in parts, is if you don't just buy the one piece, or you just get feet from this person, or you just get hands from this person, or you just get a head from this person and mix and match. Because oftentimes, the prices that they will give for just the parts, if you add them all up, and I don't know why these people can't do math, it'll be cheaper than what they're saying the full suit will be. It's ridiculous. So yeah, you can save a lot of time and money, get the pieces you want. Oh, well, I like this person for this person for this, and then get all your parts separate. And it saves a lot of money, and then you get to work with a bunch of people, or buy it secondhand. Oh my gosh, you know what's, honestly the most beautiful head right now on go to Furby. How much time do I have? I should be done.
What time do you have to end?
425.
420, what?
427.
427, and I love these guys too, steampunk. It's another example of people who make stuff that is unique to them and not just cosplaying something else. And I totally could never do that, but that's awesome.
Anybody can do it, anybody.
Just find it at NerdCon.
Seriously, that's
Oh,
all
yeah,
these are.
Right? That's awesome.
Well, this wasn't our friend.
Yeah, and that stuff's so cool too. Here, let me look. This is honestly the most beautiful thing. They're kind of local too. Oh, that's awful. Awful, awful, awful. And My Little Ponies are really popular too. Where is it? Is there already up? No, it couldn't have.
Do you remember the name of the artist?
Elris. No, it's not there. Whatever. Well, you can sometimes find good stuff, but it depends. It's just taking your time. If you're gonna make it yourself because you love it. Don't make it yourself because you want to save money, because you're not gonna save money. If you say, oh, this is $200, I'm just gonna make it myself, guess what? No, it's not the way it works. Because all the time and energy and anguish, looking for the bits and pieces, learning how to work every little thing, it's going to take so much time. And then you'll rush through and it's going to look horrible and you're going to be up on bad fur. And I'm going to laugh at you.
I say the same thing about Mandalorian buckets.
Does that just move?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, sorry. What's a Mandalorian bucket?
Star Wars Mandalorians.
Oh, yeah.
I did that costuming as well. And I was like, I don't want to spend $150 on a helmet. I'll make one myself. Don't do it.
Right, but do it because you have a passion for it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, well you're
right.
still, I had to scrap 3 of them before I got it right, so.
Right. Who's that guy from Mythbusters?
Oh.
Also a Mental Savage.
That guy is so amazing, and he does so many really good talks about why we make and why we build things.
Oh, Adam Savage.
Adam Savage,
He's
yes.
amazing.
I started making these because I wanted to figure out how they worked. Kind of, but except it's white. It's all white. I'm the most beautiful guy. It's an all-white fox, yes. He does beautiful work, or she, whatever. Because I'm a fan, and I just wanted to learn how to do it. And in 6 months, maybe I'll move on to something else, you just gotta create knowledge and learn things and try things that you're out of your comfort zone. But I just wanted to make another point. This isn't just about just fursuits. It's also about mascot costumes, working in your community, working with nonprofit animal shelters, working with children, making your own character, making your own costume, anime characters, okamis, Pokemon, doing all this stuff yourself. And also, resins goes out of the fursuit community. It goes with every sort of build, resins, epoxy sculpts, silicones, all this stuff. There's just so much stuff to learn and to know and to grow, and it's expensive. But sometimes people will pay you to do it, and that's the best feeling. Oh my gosh, someone's paying me to do something I love to do. It's the best, and it's not a job. I would not recommend anyone trying to build this sort of thing because they want to make a living out of it, because you're not. Like maybe you could, yeah, okay, if you pick up a guitar one day, you might be a rock star. But the likelihood of that is very slim. But if you do it just because you love it and because it's fun, then you're going to have a lot more fun doing it, And for money, if you do it for money, it's stressful. I'm just happy enough that it pays for my materials, and I don't have to spend my own money anymore,
Art is not very profitable, which
No.
I'll be explaining in our panel right now.
It's not, but it's wonderful and it's
Hey, we got a
horrible
panda
and it's gut wrenching.
back there.
But it's the
Whoa,
best, and I wouldn't give it up. And I would love to learn how to build steampunk.
That's exactly what we're going to explain how to do right now. So,
Oh my gosh,
you guys want to
yes.
stick around? We can teach you how to make.
Yeah, oh my
crazy
gosh,
stuff
stick
like this.
around. Yes, I'm packing up. I cede the floor to steampunk.
Much appreciated.
You're back.
But you can go to my website if you have any questions or ever wonder anything, or if you like building it yourself. Yes, I will be around. I'm actually.